Okay, fam. So we're recording. So now we can do what we want. And now
let's see where it goes to.
Yeah, man. No, yeah. So this is the beauty of this. So now it's completely organic.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Put you on the spot. Put you on the spot. Your journey.
Oh, that's the thing I don't like. So,
okay. Well, it's too late. It's too late.
That's what I'm finding out, to see if it's like, because I feel like I don't like it to be in front of the camera. But is there also an underlayer of insecurity? And that's what I'm trying to see what's going on. Dig into.
Yeah. So where would that insecurity come from? What is it? Where do you feel it is?
No, I always had it, because in the past I come out of a family who is very in the spotlight in the Netherlands. So being born as a daughter of, maybe I felt always expectations of me having to do that. My sisters were very good in it. They were speeching, and I just didn't feel that to do that. The first time I felt it was when my father went over, and then suddenly I felt inside to stand there for thousands of people giving a message. So that was my first time, but it was such a strong feeling to do it. It was like I had to do it. So I went. There I go. So
push to it.
Push to it. So I didn't have.
Yeah, it becomes almost like there's nothing you can do but I do it. It doesn't matter anymore, does it? You get to that sort of stage where I've just got to say this.
Yes. And that when I feel that so strong, then I will do it. And now I feel like, is it like expectations from other ones or from myself, or?
So this is the beauty of it. This is the beauty of doing what we're doing now, recording it off and just blowing through all that and saying, you know what, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. So
go with the flow, something I always did and always do.
Yeah.
Just in the now and just feel and do. And let's see where it goes, where it ends.
So, okay, then just go into the story, where the journey. So sisters and family, and that led you to...
I'm coming out of a family where divorced parents, the father was mainstream television, all that stuff. And my mom was awake. So she was the Rudolf Steiner anthroposophic. So there were totally two different worlds where I had to balance in.
Yeah, walk between. Yeah, walk
yes,
between.
And my balancing went to my mom, because we are very strong connected, and she went over 2008, and then she became after a while my guide, because we are soul connected.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So what was the question?
So that was the family, but then that led to the marriage, relationship.
Yeah, then I met Dustin when I was 24, and he was my earth angel. He always gave me the space to do whatever I needed to do, because I was always before that, always somebody who just followed my heart. So not thinking, like even with jobs or school was not for me. I was like, all the exams I did, I was checking by my neighbors, because it was just not my thing. So I also...
Yeah, I think a lot of people have recognized that.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Yes. So I was one who had to do it, and not learning out of books or whatever, but just doing it. So I did from all kind of jobs, all kind of different jobs. Yeah. And then met Dustin, and we stayed together for 24 years. I have two beautiful children, Archie and Milan. They are now 14 and 16. And we traveled the world, because he is working for the telecom. So we went to all kind of places. So Milan is born in Suriname and Hartje is born in Manila, the Philippines.
Beautiful. Both still living in the Netherlands.
Yes, we came back 2000. I don't know the dates anymore, but 2014. Something.
Time. I can't remember the dates. I don't need them.
So
It's a happening.
I only know that we were living in South Africa in 2010. We moved there, and then Dustin was always working abroad. So in 2012 he was like in Zurich, or so he was always 3 months gone, 2 weeks back. So and that's also where where something happened with me, because I started to really wake up. I always knew there was more because I'm a Waldorf child. My mom raised me like that, and I knew there was more, but it was like if you don't get a grip on it. And then 2012 something happened. Like I was always looking for something, and how I did it was like partying and always going out and about, and then in 2012 suddenly something changed, and I separated me from the people where I always was partying with. And then it started really like fast, like food, even that I was always conscious about food, but suddenly more consciousness, and I got questions and they were answered. So when the children were at school, I opened the laptop and everything just came, and it was like, for me, like, what? I just asked this question in my head, and then a post came up with the answer, like the little, I call them miracles that you think from, huh? Yeah. So then it really started. And that, and in the meantime, we were kind of, Dustin was always abroad because it stopped in Africa, his work, but I didn't want to move again because the children were happy at school in Africa and it was all good. So he decided to go 3 months off, 2 weeks back, and till there would be another project where we could go all together again. And after 2 years it came, and then we went. And even in the meantime, I told Dustin, I said, geez, if we're going to be together 24/7 again, I hope you still like get me, because I go to something, like. So in 2000, and then we left for a year to Burma, and that's where I did or teach myself the meditation and the journey, all the things coming, and yeah. And then I got a strong feeling to go back to the Netherlands. And he said, well, you traveled a lot after me, so I will go like what you decide to do. Because I wanted to put the children, they were going from international schools and it didn't resonate anymore. And it was just, uniforms on. And I wanted to give them what I had, a piece of the Waldorf school, So I decided to go back to the Netherlands, but I didn't want to go back to the place where I was grown up, because I never really inside resonated with it. And so I decided to go up in the Netherlands, in Friesland. And there was a Waldorf school, and they were going on that school. And we bought a house, beautiful place in Leeuwarden. And I started my organic bio bed and breakfast. And it started to work very well. So I got like a lot of nice people, because it was Femkes bio bed and breakfast. So people were attracted by the bio organic. So they were already kind of conscious. So I got beautiful people there. And in the meantime, like that was 2018, it went fast for me. I was just went even faster, and I was called by Mother Ayahuasca. So I went, and even that I knew that before that I one day would come there, but I was a control freak and not into the drugs and all that stuff, because I would lose my control. So I knew one day it will, but.
So you tried the ayahuasca?
Yeah, so one time I got a phone call from somebody and he told me about his experience, and I immediately got through, this is the one where I have to go to. So I called her and I was like, I didn't want to do it in a group because there was that little layer of fear still there. Because I thought if I'm in a group and I'm like freaking out, then I want her for myself, you know, and not like that she is going here and there to other ones who were, because I didn't know what to expect. Or so I called her up and immediately it was just divinely perfect again. So I went there in one day in February 2018 in a yacht. And that's where my that's where I was yeah, that's where everything changed even faster.
How did you
Because
can I ask you the question about how did you feel after losing control?
well, I was still yeah, well, beautiful, because when I took the medicine, I was like becoming so happy that the shaman Moon, her name is, she said, geez, it looks like you are pregnant from your own happiness. And I was like, wow. So and I had to do this one was for outside, so I had to open my eyes and I needed to go sit out by the yacht, you know, like outside, so not in nor inside with closed eyes, but I had to go out, and it was magical. I saw the dome like crystalline grid, and the birds, I could hear the birds. It was like being in oneness. And it was just, and then suddenly something happens under all the way, because what I have to say is I did my inner work. So I did my pre-work. So now I can say that I did, because I had like diaries written when I was a child, lots of diaries. And before I was called by ayahuasca, I went through every page of my diary to that inner child, but conscious of it. So I was conscious of that little Femke, and I was conscious feeling and seeing where she went go through. So that in the meantime I was transmuting it or cleaning it or.
So the ayahuasca didn't bring up the negativity that had already been consciously observed by you.
No.
Now it brought up
Yes.
the enlightenment, and what probably you realized is that you didn't have control in the first place, that you were going to lose. In fact, you had total control that you would never lose. And that's that fear that you go through, right? So it's the fear of losing control when in fact we
yeah, that was my old fear, because I had my whole life so much fears, you know, like always, like fear of I didn't even know why I was scared, but I made myself then like I'm scared to die, because at that time when I was 21, death was death for me. So I was like, I'm gonna die. So it's like one of the biggest fear if you are not conscious in what's going on.
Yeah.
So I went also through that, you know, like hyperventilation and not going to places where too many people, or constantly I had to find safety places, you know, to see where I could go, test myself. Yeah, that's okay. So I went through all that stuff, then the diaries, and then I knew when ayahuasca called me that there was something all the way under, like a drawer, what I couldn't open, and that's where ayahuasca came in. So I went there, and then first, oh, beautiful, and oh, it was so beautiful and magical, and everything was connected, and the birds I could understand, and suddenly something started to like, and it was not, I didn't feel fear, but it was something, okay, something is going to happen. So I called the shaman who was sitting inside, and she said, do you want me to come? I said, yes, please. And then she saw what was going on, and she said, oh, nice, and transformation. And that's the words I hear. And then she started to play on the harp and light language, and started to get me through this whole process, because what was happening was something deep in me was coming out. And it started with like I had to not throwing over, but I had to spew, you know, like, but I didn't want it because it was so, yeah, how I felt that experience was so dirty. I didn't want to put it on Mother Earth, you know. It's like, no, I can't put this on Mother Earth. And then of course he said, you can do, because Mother Earth will transmute it. And so then I went on my knees above Gaia. And then I had to just spew all that out, and suddenly I saw on both sides like gray coming out. Like it's like you didn't hear, but it was just like gray coming out. And after that,
did you witness that or feel it?
No, saw it.
Saw
it coming out.
Yeah. Okay.
It was just coming out, and then also that feeling of something deep inside, you know. That was what was loosening. That was what was coming out. And then I saw it coming out. And then it also stopped, you know, because in between I did that, like that. Then in between sometimes I looked, and then everything was still beautiful. And then it started again. And one time I heard Moon saying, your mom is here. And I heard her, but I was busy. So after the gray went out, I was like sitting and enjoying, and just so beautiful. And then suddenly like a big yellow butterfly came straight in my face, like well, this piece from my face. And I was like, Moon. So I called Moon and I said, yes. I said, look, this butterfly, is this real? You see it, you know? She said, yes. She said, that's your mother's. I told you she's here. And then she went in again. And I was like, Mom. And then she flew away, and I was sitting again, you know, like enjoying. And I was like, okay, Mom. Oh, Mom, then come back, please. And then the butterfly came again and just fluttered around, and I in the garden, and it was so beautiful. And then she disappeared, and it was February, so quite special to see a butterfly. And then she disappeared in the trees, who didn't have any leaves yet. And then I knew that the butterfly would not come back anymore. So that was my first experience. But when I went back, after 4 months, Mother Ayahuasca called me again. And then I knew that it was for the inside. So the first I was out, and this was going to be in. So I went again alone with the Shaman Moon, and took the medicine. And then I had to lay down in the yard, put things over my eyes, because I really like literally went inside. And I had to go to my kidney, because there was an operation when I was 23 or something. And it was always still something. And I knew I had to visit it to see what to let go there, you know. So then I went there and let it go. And well, it isn't a whole day, but you know, time doesn't exist. So only the things that I really remember was that on the end of the day, I was suddenly in the space that I am, you know, like I realized that I experienced like all particles, and there was nothing above anymore. And the only thing was my conscious was aware of it, that I was everything and everything was I. And I asked Moon, I said, but there's nothing else above anymore. She said, no. I said, but what are all the other layers under then? She said, I don't know. So, and then my other question was like, how do I get, you know, how do you get creation out of it? Because I only saw like this, and I was aware of it. I guess that's the I. And that was it. And then I said, but that's boring, you know, like that's boring. And of course, that was now 4 years ago. So in the meantime, I embodied the feeling without the medicine. So in the meantime, I understand more what was, you know, what the layers are in between for me, how I experience it. And yeah, but that was after that my whole, yeah, then everything changed, because when you go and when you are transformed and your mom is there and you're straight connected, then you go and there's no way back anymore, and there's no stopping. So and then it goes.
What's seen cannot be unseen. It's very powerful. How would you describe the one, the outside, and the one going in. Two experiences, the same. Realistically, they are, but one was showing you something and the other was showing you something. What would you say it's between the two?
Well, the first one was for me like the experience, because it felt like everything was connected and everything was one, but I still saw everything different. But how I experienced was the birds. The birds I could understand when I hear them, and when I was lying and opened my eyes, then two horses, because there were a lot of horses there, like white horses were running up to me, and I was like, is this real? Yeah, it's real. So it's in another, you are in a higher dimension, in another dimension. And
with the one going out, then would you say that was to open your eyes, and the one going in is to cement that?
Yes, the first one was really to get that layer what I couldn't get. So with help of ayahuasca, that came out.
Purging, the release of that gray, that disharmonic energies.
Yeah, what's yourself, of course, or just something where I needed ayahuasca with. So that was the outside, the transformation. And with the second time going inside and experience the inside, the I with your eyes closed, and inside the I am that I am, there is nothing above it anymore, because you are everything and everything is you. And that's just like
the all in the one and the one in the all.
it's like such beautiful experiences I got from ayahuasca, and it helps me every day still.
That was what, 2018?
Yeah.
And
2018.
Then what?
And then my mom was very strong with me, because she became my guide, and she sent me to magnified healing. So one day I had to go alone to a spiritual market, and I met a shaman dancing cloud. And the moment I was like going to where she was sitting, I was like lifted up, something happened. So I knew I had to be there. And then I had to ask her, what are you doing? Because I need to know what you are doing, because something is happening here. And then she gave me information what she's doing with magnified healing, Kuan Yin, and I knew I had to go there. So the next day at exactly 11:11, I phoned, called her, and the next day I went. She gave me the healing, and everything was just everything was going in the flow. And what beautiful was that I wanted to have a Kuan Yin, how do you call it in English? The big picture post.
Keep going and I might get the word for you. Kuan Yin.
Yeah, but then I wanted to like say a painting of Kuan Yin.
What's Kuan Yin? I don't know what Kuan Yin is. The big picture.
Yeah, she is the I call it the Kuan Yin. It's like Isis, like Mother Maria. She's from.
Oh, I get you. Yes. The ascension, Kuan Yin. Yes. This
gratitude.
Yeah, I get you. So you
saw magnified healing.
Yeah.
And there was a beautiful picture, and I wanted to have that picture, but I couldn't order it because you had to order it in the US, and it was not there anymore. And I told Dancing Clouds, and she took the picture out of another room. She said, "You mean this one?" I said, "Yes, that one." But then with a clear third eye. She had one with a red third eye. That is exactly the one I want. And I made it a joke. Maybe I can buy this one. No, she said, no. So why I'm telling this is after I finished the magnified healing, I went to a second-hand shop to buy a frame for a picture. And I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. And there were only frames, empty, just, glass and thing. And I was looking with a friend of mine was joining me, and I was like, no, I'm not going to find it. And I put my head up and I look to the right, and Lee, there is exactly the Kuan Yin standing, just standing next to me. Exactly, with the clear third eye, just the one I wanted. So the only thing I could do was like, "Ah!" My friends asked, what? This is the one. And it was just, there were no pictures there. There were only frames. And there was like one, like huge, like such a big Kuan Yin, exactly the one. And I was like, nah, thank you. But
Miracle.
all that kind of things were just magically, divinely going and happening. And
yeah, beautiful. And undeniable synchronicity, undeniable miracle. But to most, it would be a coincidence and just happened. No, so much more.
Yes, and I shared it all with Dustin, and I was just like, yeah, nice, or nice. And every day when I walked, I had to go in nature. Every day I had to go, and every day, if it was clouded, it was a week that it was every day clouded, gray, Netherlands it could be. But every time when I walked on the same path, the sky opened and the sun came. First time, 2 times, second time, third time. It's like, okay. But when it happens like every day, and that you go and think, now today, and then it opens and Father Sun shines straight on you. Yeah, then you think you're gonna lose it, because who will you be, who wants to who believes this,
Yeah.
I went through this quite alone, so there were not a lot of people who would understand that. But I actually made picture of it and sent it to Dustin and said, look, again, It was just
that fear of losing it again. And that's that little bit of insecurity we've got, isn't it? This can't be real, but yet it still is. And it's happening all the time. And I'm still questioning it. And then you realize there's no need to question it. In fact, you can command it. And that sort of mindset's changed. So that's 2018, 2019 then.
That's 20. That was in the meantime 29. Yeah, 19.
2019, and then
well, I felt like I'm coming on a point that there was that all the things happens and there is nothing. Everything that's being said is like already an inner knowing. So it was like, so now what? Like, so what's next? A little bit that feeling. I mean, you went then to somebody where you thought, well, she can tell me more because she's more connected or whatever, that's what you think when you go through. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like listening and I see all popping up what she still needs to do or what she still can do. But I'm the one paying the euros when I left, so I was like, okay, was clearly a point that I was like, no, I am, I am the one. And I have to follow just me.
So can I put it into a sort of kind of context that I can relate, well, many can relate to, especially the looking and the seeking of information externally. There's a point that comes where you just realize that you're not getting any information anymore. In fact, what you're realizing is the lack of information that's coming out, the limits on it, and the fear that we're looking for somebody to give us something that's pure, and it's not pure. It's still tainted by fear. And you start to recognize that in the ones that you think are giving you information, and this pushes you on another path where you stop looking for information and start asking the questions again. You start asking the questions inside. So again, with what we're going to relate back to is the ayahuasca. You were shown the outside, and of course that's what we all look for, is the outside. Give it to me. But at a certain period of time, then you realize that the inside is where all the answers are. And it may get shown to you outside, but if without doing the journey, without the need and the want, I need to find this and I need to find that, and it's all somebody else may be able to help me because they know more than I do. No, and you realize they don't.
There's a moment you realize you don't, but you have to go through everything to come to the point you realized. And I remember when all the things started, and you get like almost greedy because it's so beautiful and you want more. So I remember asking Dancing Cloud, but I want to experience more. And then she was, I will never forget, she was busy with her soup and she looked at me and she said, what if you take the one thing away? And it was an aha moment, like, yes, because that one thing is like only blocking the flow.
Yeah.
Just full trust, no fear, and just go in your flow and know that it will all divinely work out.
It's that faith. It's like you called it, full trust, no fear. That again, I found to take quite a long time, in real relative terms of the want. A lot of that want, that false want, because we don't want, we have everything we need, but we want these things as if we can go and grab them. And we don't. If we don't want them and we flow, they come to us.
Yes, but you think when you, but with that one thing I had, when I do a course of some Bala or another, or then I will experience more, or, but it's not about the one thing, because it will all come divinely. What's needed coming, it will come to you. So that's the only thing you have to do.
It's that realization, that acceptance, that realization leads to that faith. and then the recognition of those little coincidences, which aren't the divine miracles. They may be very small, but they multiply, and they're happening all the time. All you do is release the expectation and just say okay and allow. But that acceptance, we call flow, is it takes the release of the want. And again, but you don't release the want until you realize that what you're looking for isn't there. It's in the, it's funky, and we all do this in different kind of ways, but it's not just it hasn't been anyway. I'm not going to say it's not a flick of a switch. It hasn't been it's been
only with Rick.
Yes. Yes, but that, I'm not going to say that it won't be that in the future as the frequency rises and the consciousness rises, then that'll be different. But in the way it has been, it wasn't necessarily a flick, but it was more of a journey. So you've got to the point of realizing that you can't go out anymore. There's not you can't seek from others that you put on a pedestal. You've got more than me. You're more connected to me. I'll ask you questions. Please answer me. That
it didn't work anymore.
No, so that stops.
I realized that.
And then what? And
then I think it's also important to share is that I met a man from 77 years old, and I felt a connection with him that I never ever felt before. And it was a connection with all the loves I knew in this experience, like father, grandfather, name it. Every love I experienced was now in one love in this person I met. What I felt that was not from this experience, so that connection, but that was for me the first time, and I didn't know about twin flames, catalysts, and so it was like something new. And I met him actually before the ayahuasca, when I was called by ayahuasca. So he experienced the 2 years with me. He was always there and listening, and he understand even that he was always going to another timeline, but he heard me. He understand it because our souls knew each other from another experience. So that, and he did that already. So his inner knowing recognized it, but in this time we agreed to just that he was there for the 2 years to be there for me.
Divine guide, a divine guide, support, mentor, however you want to see it.
Yes, support, because he holds space for me, and by me telling him all the experiences, he listened, but he really listens. He was really listening. So it was not like nice, but and then giving a lower timeline reaction on it. No, he said really wise things between, like that you thought how. It was funny because he said very wise things, but then he also would go to the lower timeline when I was not there. So both of us went always in a higher vibe. Yeah. And then when we left, he went on his own thing, and I went on and on. But he also gave me some more experiences. I found out we found out that it was a twin flame catalyst. So he gave me some little experiences, and when the time was there that it was divinely time to to separate. So he went back to his lower timeline. So I was, let's say, losing him here in this reality. Then I had to go through a moment of, oh my word, you know, I am alone here. You know, Dustin, my husband, we were like together, but not connected anymore. The children were on an age that they were starting to go to their own places. Because I was a real mother, I was always there 24/7 for them, you know, tea cookie mom, and making it nice and cozy and clean and everything perfect, and bringing them to school. And then when I picked up them, they always went playing with children. So I was also there feeling, okay, so they are going now. With Dustin, 2 years before, I told him I couldn't give him any more what he deserved, because I really love him, but I couldn't give him. And then I mean, like, you know, like uh, like intimacy.
Yeah.
Was just a thing I couldn't. So I just had to stop that. But I also had to speak it out, because it was like pushing on my shoulders, because it was for me also like I love him so much, and I just, you know, like, but that part was just not there anymore. So that's also what I shared with him. And he said, so what are we going to do now? I said, well, we are a good team and we just go on, you know. And if you will meet somebody where you feel something, you know, what can give you what you deserve, then I'm very happy for that. And vice versa for me, the same. So just let's take it day by day and just see, you know. Yeah.
Release of that I recognize the weighing heavy, the knowing that this is coming to an end, but not wanting it to, holding on to something as if it's a possession, and all of these things. That's old thinking, but that old thinking still sits in the field, if you like, and that release is opening it up for discussion, and all of the bad things we think could happen don't, and all of a sudden then you just carry on. It's like the time was over for that bit. Now's the next bit. And and both realizing that that's happening in the moment without holding on to possessions is such a beautiful release, and is love.
Yeah.
It's the truth coming out. It's the purity. It's being true to yourself and the other.
And see, and having the trust, and in the now, let's to see, you know, like what will happen. Just go in that flow again.
So that faith again, that this is the right thing to do,
Yeah.
but the feeling of the weight of it, knowing that it's the right thing to do. So it's not just, I see it as lots of pressure coming in to do the right thing. It's just the right thing. And yeah, in that moment, we kind of go into a state of fear or resistance to do the right thing. And once it's out, it's released. Well, yeah. Like the gray.
Yeah, you can do with your mind. You can say, okay, so there is not that intimacy anymore. So then, well, let's break up and go to the whole divorce and da. But it was the trust that it would.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, because it didn't feel like doing that. So that's not the right thing then to do on my, you know, and so
that's what's indoctrinated. That's what we're taught to believe, that, you know, you go against your morals, you go against this, that, and the other, because it's the right thing to do. We realize it's not. The right thing to do is to speak your absolute truth.
Yes.
And that's how you feel. That's your purity. That's your transparency. Is how I feel right now is my truth. And that's the right thing to do. But of course, the external pressures are, you don't speak that, you don't do these things. Of course you do. Of course you do, because then it's open for both of you to communicate it, and then you can work together, as opposed to the system telling you what to do. And the fear of the divorce, and the fear of the system, and the fear of the courts and the lawyers and solicitors and this, that, and the other. And
that's another funny story. I'll come to that with Dustin. I don't know if it really, he listened and he said, okay, but he was not a really he didn't speak his inner a lot. So I was the one who was always speaking and bringing it out, and because I have to speak everything out. And he was, and I assumed that he would understand that or listen, and if not, he would take action or did what he felt to do, but there was no action coming. So we just went in that flow.
Did it? Yeah.
And then,
And when was this?
yeah.
2019.
Well, when I shared it with Dustin, we were on holiday. That was before the ayahuasca, so that was a long time. And then we have 19 with the twin flame catalyst and all the experience of ayahuasca and the magnified healing and all the miracles and everything, like like a. And then the
reality changed. Boom, boom, reality changed. Everything changed.
Everything. But how it's changed was that, well, then that moment that you think, okay, you know, I am, and I was very happy. I mean, I have love, you know, I love Dustin, I love the life we lived. I had my, you know, the bio bed and breakfast. I did whatever I wanted, and the children were happy, and I am fully happy when the children, you know, they are part of me. So, but I was a part what was missing. And that's where they divinely pushed me to, but I didn't know. So I met Rick. Yeah, I went to Israel to my brother who was living there, and he introduced me to Rick. But you know, that was beautiful. But I feel love. I feel love for everybody, and a strong love for Rick too. But you know, nothing thoughts or conscious about it. Just beautiful, nice. And then
Just
in the
is.
Netherlands, back from Israel to then again, like unconscious, I sent a message to Mike to send to Rick. Like very short, okay, Mike sent it to Rick. I feel strong connection, like, you know, like, and that was it. And then sending it, then your consciousness comes back and thinks, Fem, what, you know, or thoughts, you know, what did you do? And also that thought was taken away. So it was all done, but it didn't keep you busy, you know, it was not here. It just happens and whatever. And then I had a phone call with Rick, and yeah, I don't even remember. I only him asking, is your Kundalini activated? And I said, Rick, I don't know. What's Kundalini? What's that? And so we had like 45 minutes talk, and he said, you have children and a husband? I said, yes. I don't know, you know, I don't know. I couldn't answer questions. I don't know. I just felt like, or I didn't even feel, without feeling, just divinely it happens without me. It's like it's just happening. Yeah, afterwards you think, huh, why did you do that? Well, that's fine. And then I mean, a few days later, then he phoned, he sent me a message, because in that time when we had that phone call, the divine came to Egypt. So we did, there was no reason to having any contact. And I forgot it about already. I mean, yes, better, because there's a, how could I go now? You know, I have a B&B and 2 weeks of Egypt. No, so it was all fine for me. And then one day he called me up, and he said, just see if there's an opening. And then again, without thinking how, who, what, just saying, okay, hanging the phone, going down and telling Dustin, I go to Egypt for 2 weeks. He said, okay. Okay. And then he even booked me the flight. And the next day, the next day at 9:15 a.m., my daughter Hartje walked me to the station with me and a backpack, put me on the train. And I didn't even say goodbye to my son, because he had a sleepover somewhere. And I left, and it was like, what was it, March 16th, one day before the lockdown. So trains were empty, streets were empty, and I was just sitting, and there was no thought, just that feeling of going. And the only thought I had, I don't want to get stuck in Paris, because I had a stopover in Paris, and I didn't want, you know, I arrived on the airplane or on the airport in Amsterdam, and it was all canceling. You know, the little bars and shops were doing a big summer cleanup, and everything was canceling. And they even asked me private question. May I ask you a private question? I said, yeah. where are you going now? I said, I don't know. I'm on a mission. I don't know. It was just that. It was,
Where you
yeah,
go.
it's
And
difficult to explain it if you never experienced it.
how
And then,
fascinating though on that control thing, right? When you go back a little bit before about needing to control everything, and then all of a sudden you're just going somewhere with zero control over anything at all. Oh, the complete inversion of that. Now I don't know where I'm going. I don't know why. And I don't care to know. It will
no,
be.
but that was the whole journey, deprogramming of all the fears and control. Because of control, I could control my feeling, you know, like if I feel good, you know, that. And that was, I went through all that to master it. And then the last little things, you know, with the twin flame catalyst, and then it was clear, done, and they pushed me to Egypt.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable. And it's very difficult to explain that to people who are not
aware.
really conscious of open about it, because how they see it is, you left your children behind, you just left. And
But that's, we're into judgment then, aren't we? Pinning a judgment on another based on another's perspective, and these sort of things, which again is released, that need to judge another's actions is released again. It's this, look what they're doing. What does it matter what they're doing? this kind of ideas. There's a condition. There's a condition. Everything external to us has a condition to it. So we attach conditions to it as well. Of course, once you get to the point where you release control, you release condition, and that becomes unconditional then. So another's actions doesn't come with a judgment anymore. It just comes with they're doing what they're doing, as opposed to that pinning them or labeling them as society would. So I'm totally with you.
Lee, you know what it is? It is that unconditional love. When that is activated, when you feel that, when that's embodied, you love. You love, and even if they are projecting all the things, but because of that inner work and doing the whole journey, you know where they come from, and you have that love, and you understand, and you see it.
Yeah.
And the only thing what I had to deal with, of course, the last 2 years is with the children, because I was like, come on, you know, like, if everybody has that unconditional love, even if you are not agreeing with what somebody else is doing, but that love is there, then you can in harmony, you know, be together, act together, and then in my situation, for the children, because that is the most important thing. It's this is my thing, this is his thing, but do it all nice together, and then we can just be together for the children.
Acceptance.
But I understand that it's not possible yet.
Yes, I'll go with you on the yet. But that's acceptance, isn't it? An acceptance of another's. This is what I've been trying to explain to people lately, is your truth and my truth may well, they're just our perspectives of the truth. When we can agree to the truth, then our perspectives don't matter. They don't need to be argued, because the truth is not our perspective truth. But of course, with belief, people believe things so vehemently that they'll argue that that's real. It's not. That's real. But can we agree on that? No. This is so. As we progress through this, and those layers of condition are released and shed, then that balance and that harmony is inevitable. It's just
and I'm visualizing it every day, you know, like every day. And that's why in the beginning I also send him all the information, you know, like I because they think that I'm like brainwashed crazy with somebody like Rick who they don't understand. For them it's like she lost it, she's crazy. And even the part that when I went to the Netherlands in after half a year, when everything was closed, I couldn't even go back. But when there was an opening to fly back, I went home to see the children, to speak with Dustin. And he wanted a divorce. I said, that's fine if you want a divorce in the system, but you know, you don't have to spend, for me, the system. But if you want, I will come with you. So then we had to go to the office where they do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, sticky, grimy, horrible. Yeah.
it was funny because they told me you need a lawyer. I said, I don't need a lawyer. For me, this is not my truth. So I'm here to sign, and I give everything to Dustin because I love him. I trust him. We were together 24 years. And so it's this, I don't want nothing to do with this system. So I'm only here for him. Nah, that was, of course, that was crazy. That was
They don't like
so
it.
they also so they even asked and how do you call that? Checks you, mentally check.
Yeah. Are you mad? Are you crazy? No.
Yeah, a doctor. How do you call it? Well, before I had to sign the papers, they would do a medical health check. So that was funny. So I said, that's fine, let her come here to this office, and then after I can sign. And so the woman came. There was, of course, nothing wrong because, it's.
Yeah. Some bullshit question. She's earned herself 5,000 whatever to sign you off to say, yeah. And they've had a little bit more money out of the system.
No, listen, that was so funny because they said, okay, there is some money. So they put a bill under my nose from 300 euro, 250, 300 euro. And I was like, but who asked you to come and check me? She said, well, the lawyer's here. I said, but why do I have to pay this then? Because it was for the business for them to, that they would not be later, because I was the crazy one. I had an ayahuasca medicine because they thought I was, but they needed to have a, backup with this test that I was not crazy. Otherwise, so I said, I will not sign this. So I saved Dustin even some more euros. But that's how crazy it was. So I was just there and then the notary man came and I had to sign, and you felt the buzz, in the office. It was like that woman coming in with her husband and gives everything away and nothing to do with the system. And they were like totally, and he even asked me all kind of questions. I said, well, maybe you can also take my birth certificate. I said, I heard about it. I said, I'll start studying it because I think there will come a lot of people who are, who are gonna know the truth.
So the ripples came out. The ripples came out in that divorce office, the psychiatric evaluation, all the rest of it. Fantastic. The light was introduced.
And then I walked away. I said, Dustin, come, honey, come. And we went. And then in the evening, I said, okay, let's have dinner and celebrate our divorce. And we had dinner, 4 of us. I was like, wow, how beautiful can it? I mean, this is just beautiful. Parents who are just like in harmony, like this. And it went beautiful, but.
That's why the system enjoys it when it goes the other way, hey? And so the system's set up to make it go the angry way and increase stress. When you do it the other way, you don't need the system. But that's where we're going to, right? Very shortly. So you went to, I mean, you must have gone to Egypt for 2 weeks and then not been able to come back. Because I presume well, we can call it whatever, but the regulations would have stopped that. Stopped you coming back. So then you're stuck there kind of. With
divinely stuck because it was all a divinely planned thing, because yes, I couldn't go, and so the children would understand that too, that I couldn't come back, so they could not immediately being like, well, she stays away, but so
yes,
it was all divinely.
You didn't need any excuses. All your excuses were done for you. So there was no, I'm not coming back, children. It's I can't come back, children. So I'm just stuck for a minute. So there's no blame being input, which is the divine nature of it. It was done in a way that was blame free. Yes. In the old world sort of thinking.
Yes, because it was like you are in between. So it's
yeah. So that was with Rick in Egypt. Then you were stuck there for how long? I can't remember. Was it 6 months?
6 months. And then when I arrived in Egypt, I didn't know Rick. I mean, I spoke to him like 45 minutes and I felt an immense love, but I feel love for everybody, but you know, it wasn't like a strong, it was a pull love. And then I remember walking through the doors with the backpack on, and I see him and he sees me. And funny, afterwards, we knew that our first thought was, the first thought when we saw each other was, geez, she is tall, you know, like he is tall. Because, you know, when you see Rick sitting, you think it's like a little man, you know, but when you see him, he is tall. So we had both first thoughts, and then we had to come together. And from that moment we came together. And also that is a big blur, but it's just
happened.
We came and we came together, and it was just coming home on another, say, level. I don't know, home from a recognition of each other.
What did you know in that moment? Did you know anything in that moment? Can you remember knowing anything in that moment?
I remember that I was just connecting with somebody I didn't know, but he knew me more than I knew no, that's not true. But it was, I knew him and he knew me. So everything what I was saying, what I normally in the past would explain, I didn't have to explain myself anymore. I said things and it makes
yeah.
just
that level that you don't need to go down anymore. You can just go up. So yeah. You say something that other people freak out to. What? Where? Because they're wherever they are in this level of consciousness, all of a sudden is normal. There's no need to describe or explain it. Now you can just move that way. And it's that release again. So that freedom to be without judgment, with the other knowing that it's real.
And the recognition and the knowing and the energies. And it's just like, sometimes I always say this, it's difficult to explain it when you didn't experience it yourself, because it's just, there are no linear words to explain what kind of thing happens when you merge together, and when the energies, and it has nothing to do with the old, it's for all new. There's nothing to do with old, you know. It's like
exciting. Everything's now open, nothing's closed. It's that way. It's that way around, going up, as opposed to that. So so that first, I've spoken to Rick about this a little bit too, so I got Rick excited the same thing. So I'm not going to interject with what Rick said. This is why I'm asking you about what you knew in the moment, or what you didn't know in the moment, and just how it went. And like you said a minute ago, it was just happened. It just is, and it just felt, and it was just right, and it was just different, and it was all of those things that are, the word ineffable comes up, and unable to describe. It's that sort of knowing. So
it's different, but not different.
Yes, it's pure, it's real, and all the rest was fake. So because this was so real, it's unusual. It's an acceptance, because we don't get real, we get fake all the time. So that's what we're used to, and then all of a sudden we get real, and this is, what's that? it's reality.
Yes. Yeah, it's beautiful.
So this happened, and that was, where was that? That was airport, or that was, where were you then? Luxor? No.
Egypt. No, Giza in Egypt.
Giza. And I saw the apartment you were staying in, and this was all again, that was all not given, but divine. So where you were staying was so things started to become, if you like, more ordained. You could recognize the divine presence in what was happening more and more and more. It was now becoming undeniable, right?
Yes. The part, you know, how happy and happy I was in the past with the children, but feeling something was missing, but you don't know consciously what it is, but that you feel that was the part what I gained when I came together with Rick. But then the part of the children was not there. So it's like, you know, like, so what my whole thing was then was also to go through the whole thing with the children.
Yeah, to release the I know, without going into too much depth on that, because if you wanted to, I'd let you do that rather than me. But I get what you're going with. So you had the pull and the push,
No,
it was dealing with the bit that was missing, and now feeling that you'd lost something
no,
that hadn't really gone.
yeah, what there was never one hair on my head that was questioning what I was doing. So the Missy, because when I came together with Rick, everything in my life, everything, all the countries, the mom, the stepdad, everything I experienced was to prepare me for this mission. Everything.
Yeah.
So and the way they pushed me, and the way how it all divinely was orchestrated, there was no question about that what I was doing, not, questioning if it was what I needed to do. So people could say things or project things or whatever. Never was there a moment that I questioned myself, that there was maybe, oh, she said that, maybe she's right. Never. And
that's that purity that you develop by the removal of the questions, the release of the old, the release of the indoctrination.
But also I was always already like doing what I wanted to do, like what I felt to do. That's why I was the black sheep and, didn't had one job and studied, and that I just followed what I felt to do. Didn't feel right, I would look something that feels good. And that can be a little bit of a thing for your parents, maybe, because now Femke is going here and there, and what will become from her? But I was happy. I was always following my heart, and I always had to do it. Even Dustin said, like, I can give my opinion, but you will do it anyway. I said, yes.
Absolutely. So that's the way it should be. But I get the parental stress and fear of the future, and we've all been indoctrinated with fear of the future. If you don't do this today, then you won't have that tomorrow. So you need to do certain things, otherwise you won't be able to do this later. And of course, that's not real, but it was a real fear, if you like. And we're going to be coming out of that very, very sure. Well, most of it, some of us are already out of that, but the general consciousness will come out of that, needing to do something today to make sure tomorrow or next week's bills are paid. These kind of ideas, it's all fake, right? But so we've gone past that process, and you're stuck now in Egypt. And what do you want to say about what happened in Egypt? Do you want to say anything about what happened in Egypt, or just it happened and then you moved on?
Yes, doing the beautiful mission together with Rick, and do what we are doing
divinely on a day-to-day basis with no plans. And this is the beauty. There's no fear of the future. There is no future. There's just today. There's just now. And then act in that moment, as opposed to fear for the past, and the anxiety of the past is left. The stress of the future is out of it. Now it's just flow. I like to look at it as, okay, what are you going to give me today, universe?
Yeah.
and you go into that mode.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like, oh, maybe I have, like in the past, when you go to the journey, you are the creator of your things, you making the steps, and then it happens. But there is a moment now here that you are just fully in the now, without the thinking, and go still, like. But sometimes it's
still dubious. I'll give you that. It's still, even for me, and the questions still come in, the little bits of questions about, it's not fear so much as what ifs. These little bits still come in a little bit, but that's, I spend a lot more time in my head than you do, Fam. And I know you spend a lot more time just feeling, and I don't need to think, and that's wonderful. And this is where this balance comes in for me. This it's not masculine, feminine. It's just a balance that's being developed here. So these conscious thoughts are just being released as flow becomes more evident, and the need to do things become if I don't feel I should, then I won't. Exactly. But it doesn't come from a sense of feeling, and I'm not going to have a thought tell me I must. No, I must feel. If I don't feel, then that thought's false. And again, you do it in a different way. I know you do it just through feelings. This is where there's no right or wrong with this. It's just how you do it, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
Yes, but there's still sometimes with me also from, because in the past I was always running, you know, half marathons and running and walking, and it gives you so good feeling and it feels so good and yoo-hoo, and you know, happiness came out of your ears. And where I am now is like going in the now. And then sometimes I think, okay, maybe I have to just, and that's the head then, push myself, you know, just go out and start walking or running, but I don't feel it. So it's not acting on this one anymore, but the whole, and if it's for me to walk, then I really feel it and I will walk out and start walking. So that you can just, you know, it's just all.
It feels good. It feels like you can't not, right? I must go out for a walk now. I can't not go out for a walk now. I have to go out for a walk now.
Then you go.
Yeah, it's not, I think I must, I'm going to force myself. I don't want to. It's
because it gives me a good feeling afterwards.
At the end, yeah. If I do all of this, I might feel like that later. Again, it's the same old thing. It doesn't matter what I feel like afterwards.
It works, doesn't work anymore.
No. So that again, this is that release, and this takes that process, or has taken that process in the past. So this is what you've developed, and this is how you've got there. And now you're in Egypt, and then from Egypt you went to, I can't remember now.
No, Croatia.
Oh, it's Croatia then. Yeah, okay. And doing the same things in Croatia. What happened there? What got you from Egypt to Croatia? What was that about?
Oh yeah, that's the divine guiding, you know, then divine ones contacting, and they say you have to go. It's the same with Croatia to Denmark, and then you are in a kind of divine flow, and then something will happen, and then of course Rick will get their confirmations on, and off we go.
I find it interesting with Rick's confirmations. I mean, how much do you use them? Do you use Rick's ability to yes no? Do you use the confirmations in
sometimes I say yes no question, and then but not much. No, I trust on my connection and on my feeling, and I don't need a pendle or somebody else. You know, sometimes it's nice to hear a confirmation, you know, then I don't say my question loud out. I say only yes or no, and then he will get something, and then I will, you know, but it's not that I need it. It's just
you use it. You don't need it, you use it. And I find it useful in some certain collaborations that we have to develop a line of thought, if you like, and say, what about that? Yes, no. And all that's not about looking for information. It's about, is this a waste of time? That's what it's more like. If we did that, is that so it works in that way for me, as opposed to me thinking, right, you've got something, there's not that we've got somebody here that can give us access to yes no questions, let's think of a load of questions to ask him, so we don't have. No, it's not like that, is it? It's much more like it's used tactfully, it's used benevolently, it's used without expectation or want, and that's the beauty of it. It's just, there's an interesting one, and this will make it quicker to get past Rick. And even that can change.
But then maybe you have the feeling already and you get a no, but you feel yes, then I will stay with my yes.
Yeah, but it's ultimately it's what you feel, right? And this is the beauty of this, is what you're trying to explain. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's just what you feel anyway. So even if we've had discussions whereby we've said things that are aligned to us, Lee and Fem, and Rick said something different. We're not going to. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to sway what we think because Rick said something different. But we can both respect each other's, okay, you say that and we think this, that's fine.
Yes.
And again, that's the beauty of, it doesn't matter. I know what I know, and let's see. And this knowing that we actually know the answers later. I don't know if you find this, where you may ask a question and the question may be answered 6 months later, or 6 minutes later, or 6 years later, but it gets answered. So if we don't ask the question, then the answer doesn't come. So it's all about asking the question and then letting the answer arrive. So if the answer then comes, and the more the answer comes, the more we realize the question is more important than the answer. And then that flow happens. Okay, I'll ask this question and release it, as opposed to want it. And in that aspect, then we can get to the realization that we already know, because we just haven't got there yet. We will get there. So we already know we don't need it now. We've got to the point of asking the question. So again, a little bit of what I've experienced to add on to what you're saying.
It's just that feeling, maybe in the past you have to go there, but you don't feel it yet. So you just wait, and then there will be, oh yeah, we go,
Yep.
You're not going to force it anymore. So you just,
and you don't question it. You don't question it when it happens.
No.
Boom. And again, what you're saying there is releasing the consciousness, releasing the blockages, releasing the subconscious programs that put all the fear in, and just going with the feeling.
That's, it's actually so simple, but not always easy. But, all the deprogramming, and just know the full trust, full trust, and no fear, and just, stay in that. My mom always said, stay close to yourself. And now I understand what she means. Just stay here, connected straight, and just
feel.
Yeah, it's like with the tree, you have the middle part, it's the stem, it's straight up, and here you go for your tools or sometimes distractions, but always be conscious to come back and just
the center, the trunk, the branches all come.
Yes.
The branches all come off.
Yes.
But the trunk remains sturdy.
Always come back to the trunk. Yeah. You can go for magnified healing tools or whatever tools you are getting gifted divinely, but always, I am that I am. It's you. So always go back straight to yourself. I am connected, and keep on moving forward.
Remember, you're the trunk and not a branch. You're not a leaf on the end of the branch. You don't need to be at the end of the branch shaking around very, very far away from the center. The center is the balance point, and that's the neutrality of you. That's the whole. The I am. The all in the one, and the one in the all is the trunk. The I am. So, and that recognition came to you a while ago, and the way ayahuasca helped. I haven't.
She showed it me, and then I had to embody it, yes. And that's why I understand that in the past people would say you don't need ayahuasca, or you don't need no, you don't need it, because you can experience it yourself. But for me, it was a tool to get that little bit of thing away, and a tool to experience it. And now I can just tap into it, because I experienced it, and I can just go back and be there again.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the beautiful tools. I'm so grateful with it.
I haven't had the ability, I haven't had the option yet to try ayahuasca, and I don't think I will. So but I recognize all of the words you're saying from my own mental imagery of what that is. So yes. I'm at a point where I'm thinking, okay, I could do this naturally, I think.
Yes.
So, but in the past, we could, it's very, very difficult to release and purge and do all of these things. And ayahuasca, especially with a shaman.
Yeah, but it's for everybody. It's different, and also important to say is, like, if people hear beautiful stories about an experience from somebody else with ayahuasca, that would be not a reason for you to do it. Because Mother Ayahuasca will call you. You will feel, it will come on your path, but don't start looking for it, or it will come when it's time. Just if it is for me, then let it go. And then one time she will call you, but don't go because other beautiful stories from other people. And I mean, people are going sometimes, many times, just to experience easy, that beautiful, but that's like not for me. That's not the way. Not the way Mother Ayahuasca, the medicine.
Oh,
well, maybe for them, yes. I don't know. For me,
a way, but it's not
times, and I'm not being called anymore because
no. That's what Rick, I mean. There's a lot said for once or twice with this, to open up and then embody, rather than get the need to, I can only do it when I'm on ayahuasca. No, you can do it when you're not. Once you've embodied the experience, you don't need to keep going back. But
because if I may, if you embody it, then you experience it in real, like then
Yeah.
if you have the medicine, it's not in the here, it's in another.
Yeah. But again, this is just perspectives. This is just perspectives. It's not, everything's right. And the beauty of it is that I haven't tried it. You have, others do it all the time, blah, blah, blah. So you got 3 different perspectives of the same thing, and they're all beneficial in their own way.
Exactly.
It's just recognizing the benefit as opposed to the, but so the progression through is great. It's great. And that's led you now to, you're back in.
Well, we had done Denmark and now in the Netherlands, because I'm here in the Netherlands because my beautiful children are here.
You're back home.
Huh?
You're back home.
And of course, yeah, home, but I'm here, but I'm not with the children, are like 2.5 hours from here. But I have good contact with them on the phone. It's just it's a quite special, unique situation again. Like I always have that kind of unique things, but
there's nothing you can do about it, Fem. You're in the flow. You're in the zone. We call it, I know you call it divine something. I'm not going to put that into this, but there's nothing you can do about it. So it is really take each day as you find it. Now.
Yeah, I always know, we are in this time. I mean, Lee, we know what's going to happen soon. The people who were not hearing or seeing yet, still now, after, like now, there are still people like don't see it, but they have to. So it will happen that they will be waked up. Not by me anymore, because I did my best out of my heart. So I just have now the full trust, and this is the way it is, and let it happen. And I'm here holding space. And if they're going to see that the things I was informing them out of my love for them, then I'm still here. I mean, come and I will take your hand, like let's be in love and harmony.
The beauty is,
come
again,
on.
Yeah, the beauty is, again, with that one, Fem, is what you're explaining there is there's no judgment. The amount of protesting, the amount of violent reactions to us sharing the truth in the past, it's not held. There's no grudge held. It's okay, guys. You've attacked and attacked and attacked and demeaned and belittled and just laughed at us for so long. It's okay. There's no grudge felt here.
No.
I'll still tell you all of the things you ignored before. I don't mind.
Yeah.
But as I said to Rick yesterday, stop tearing chunks off me. Just listen.
Yeah.
And I think you're the same as that. It's, we're not saying you're not going to help others. It's no, it's not that we're not going to help. We're not going to help those that don't want it anymore.
Not anymore.
No. And that's the difference. It's not about not helping. Of course we would, but if you're looking for it, then you can get it. And nobody that I know that's got a expanded consciousness is holding any kind of grudge against those that laughed at us.
Yeah, it's a little bit with level of consciousness, but sometimes you see, you see people who are like, they don't have to come to me, or when they wake up, what they did to me and that, but that's also a level of consciousness, and they will rise too,
Yeah. I can see them underneath, but the ones that I deal with, I speak to now. I mean, I think you're the same. And it is, you find the purer, the better, the more pure, the better, the better. The easier it is to speak, the more flow, the more enjoyment, the less friction. So inevitably, I've tried to speak to people now that have got an open mind as opposed to a closed one. Whereas before, I didn't find anybody with an open mind. They were all closed. So now you progress through this and you realize where we're at. And like you just said a minute ago, the alarm clock's about to go off and there's no snooze button this time. You don't go back to sleep, guys. So come with it.
I'm trying so hard because, my children of my Hartje and Milan are still on that timeline, and you just want to inform them also for them to protect. But there you go again, protect, fear. So I really had to just let it go, full trust. and I raised them a lot of times also alone. So and I was quite awake always. So they have so many seeds inside who gonna pop up so fast when the others gonna see, hey, you who the you know, like,
The shackles are
because now
released.
they are in between. They have a mom where the one side projects kukeliku, but I know inside they have the knowing. I know, but they can't speak about it there, or because everybody around them thinks that it's, but they know they have the seeds, and maybe they are like a little bit, you know, with Milan, he's awake, but he's sort of not allowed to speak about it, because if he speaks things that he knows, then they will maybe also think that he is, you know, like, so it's so sensitive.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all perfectly fine how it is. It's perfectly fine. They will see, and the children, they have the seeds, and when they see, it will all pop up and live in harmony and love all together, and have
Yeah,
beautiful
man, what a beautiful
conversation.
thing. the
I mean,
the inability to speak has been prevalent for years, because you get pilloried, you get marginalized. You can't become part of a group. You can't be a part of this if you're thinking that. But that's all the old doctrine, and that's all falling down. There's not. It's a shame that it still happens with children that age, that they still can't speak this, or they haven't got groups where they can. It's a shame if we look at it from that level of perspective. But realistically, what it is chaining them up. And like you just said, the seeds in, that's a strong trunk. It's just going to blow past those chains. And it's not just those children that's got it, it's all the others that are in fear. Their parents might not let them speak it, this, that, and the other, or my granddad, or whatever. But together, as soon as that shackle goes or something goes that they can pin it on, those seeds are just going to go woof, woof.
They're gonna.
Now we're free.
Awesome.
That's it, right? Now I can really speak my truth, and that energy.
Yes, yeah, because it's such a big difference now, you know, there, and a mom who's speaking all her things, and, you know, school, just do what you like at school, you know, don't make a fuss about it, you know, numbers is numbers, you know, you can't do nothing with this paper in this beautiful world where we go, you know, like. But, you know, they also know when their dad will hear me speaking like that, they will cut off, you know, they will cut all the connection, because their mom is so, it's like so. But I have, again, that full trust, you know, sometimes when I dip down and I have to transmute for this beautiful collective, then that are the little magnets to attract it. But that, then it can be, geez.
It takes a bit of effort. It's interesting. Again, let's not go into define too much of this yet. We can always do another one of these. Bad experiences, going into a bit more. But is there anything else? I mean, what we've done really is gone, what we've done, 12, 13, well, actually, most of your life. And then up to the last bit where you're back in Netherlands, you met Rick. And we're not going to go into too much of that, doesn't matter. So we've gone back to home. And really, you left 2 years ago at the beginning of something that happened, which we're not going to talk about too much, because if this does go on YouTube, it'll get cut down. But 2 years ago you left, and then 2 years later you've gone back. How much has changed have you seen in the outside world in that time, in reality? When you left to Egypt, would you believe that 2 years later we would still be doing this?
I thought it would take 6-7 months. That's what I said. I will be back in 6-7 months, and then the you know, the wake up was for them to see, and then we will be all what I still feel will happen. But it took a little bit longer, really. So, but we are getting there, and it's getting close. I feel it on the lower timeline. I mean, and I prepared my beautiful Milan. So far I felt I could, so he knows when things are starting to hit the fan that he can, I always tell him, no fear, you know what's happening. When something's going to happen on that lower timeline and you're, you know, there, then know that your mom is dancing on her hands, you know, so remember, you know.
Yeah, I literally just spoke to a guy a little bit earlier for a couple of hours, and said to him at the end of it, what you're watching is a show. You're either in it and it affects you, or you're observing it and it doesn't. There's certain
But
things about,
it's really like that.
yes, but there's certain things about to happen in that show that if you're in it are going to cause you fear. If you're watching it, you can laugh and smile at it.
Yeah, but also watching it with the knowing that it's really a movie.
Yes, it's
because
a show.
It's not real, you know. We know that, and but here there was like a gathering also, and she speaks about the stars and all and what's happening, and the minister president of the Netherlands, he will stop it because the moon is standing like this and that. And I'm like sitting there, and then people are like, yes, but there are so many other government people. And I'm like, too, if I could come in now and just say, guys, you know, the presidents are gone already. Biden is fake, you know, it's all a movie. Now you can take already so much away, but it depends on who you're going to share it with, because when you share it with the ones who don't see it, then there's...
You get the anger. You get the fighting your beliefs,
conspiracy, and all the other stuff. But you know, we are doing it to assist others. Just to.
I like this one. There's you, and there's your beliefs.
Yeah.
They're not one and the same.
No.
Let go of your beliefs. You still stay. Yes. I'm not.
You are not your thoughts.
When we say these things, we're not attacking you. We're attacking the beliefs.
Yes, but until the day that believes is not believing anymore, but knowing, you know, I don't believe anymore. I know.
Yeah, but again, this is where that lower timeline is just imploding upon itself. It doesn't matter where you look, your beliefs can be seen to be fake and false and malevolent. They cause torment. Again, I'm just going to say, where would you find torment every day? For people out there that are looking at this plane that we're on of existence, what torments you every day? What plane of existence torments you every day? So is that what you think? Is that what you want? These sort of ideas, again, these are beliefs, and they all cause pain. Stop it. We don't need pain. And the beliefs cause pain when we don't need those beliefs. Then again, it's these kind of simple concepts, but we know kind of difficult to program in or to overwrite the programming that's already there, but inevitable, right? It's not, there's no way we can't come back to balance. There's no way this place can stay in disharmony. It must come back to harmony. And that for me feels right now. And I'm not going to put time on this. I'm not going to put a week on it or anything. It feels right now. Enough is enough, fam. Enough is enough, isn't it?
Enough is enough, you know. Enough is enough, and it's building up there on the lower timeline. But you know, just people, just please, you know, like see everything as a test. You know, everybody you meet, every relationship you have, see them as a test. What feeling are they presenting in you? Like, you know, the good things and the bad feelings, the dark feelings. Go inside and look at them. It's so easy. Look at them. Don't drink them away or party them away. Just go in and look at them, and they will, you know, deprogram it.
Become self-evident.
And if everybody's, come on.
We've got there. There's not much longer to go.
Yes.
I'm going to say that's probably long enough for this. It's a couple of hours, I think,
yes,
or thereabouts. So I'm going to say, love you to bits, fam. Love and light.
Oh, Lee, I love you so much. Yes, I love you. And I love you. And
we may do a Femke part 2.
Huh?
We may do a Femke part 2.
Yeah, and then a Lee ears maybe.
Oh, we can do.
yeah. Next time is going to be Lee time.
We can do. Let me stop this recording and we'll finish this recording at that. I'm not going to stop the video. Let's just stop the recording.